Welcome to the Nevis Newscast for Wednesday, August 5th, 2020. I am Fredicia Liebert. The police are investigating a fatal shooting incident that occurred sometime after 8 p.m. on August 4th, 2020 at Stuart Williams Drive. Preliminary inquiries so far have revealed that 24-year-old Dillian White was sitting in a yard when unknown assailants shot him about his body. He was pronounced dead at the scene by the district medical officer. The crime scene department processed the scene and items of evidential value were collected. The police are making an appeal to anyone who may have information in relation to this incident to call the Violent Crimes Unit in Nevis at 469-5269-668-0636 or the nearest police station. Investigations into the matter are ongoing. On Saturday, August 1st, a new plaque was installed on the memorial at Bath Cemetery, which marks the mass grave where the bodies of victims of the MV Christena disaster were laid to rest following the sinking of the government-operated vessel on August 1st, 1970. The plaque, bearing the names of persons interred at the grave site, was unveiled by Deputy Governor General Her Honor Hailita Liebert and Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Mark Brantley. The unveiling of the plaque followed the MV Christena disaster 50th anniversary memorial service at the Hamilton Museum grounds on Saturday morning.
The MV Christena served as the inter-island ferry for 11 years, 1 month, 3 weeks. So today, some 50 years on, the memory of the Christena disaster still lingers in our minds. Many families were adversely affected and have not been able to come to terms with their losses, not even up until today, some 50 years later. The Christena disaster has impacted the lives of many, for the worst in some instances, because of the hardship, the pain, the suffering that they all have had to endure over the past 50 years. It has influenced the social, political, and cultural landscape of our country. But out of this disaster, we have learned many lessons and have become a more resilient people.
The service featured the naming of the more than 230 victims of the disaster, video tributes by family members of the deceased, the recognition of survivors, prayers by Father Christopher Archibald and Pastor Denzel Roberts, a solo by jazz, blues and gospel singer Denise Gordon, as well as the laying of wreaths by the dignitaries present.
Time does heal wounds. But I trust that the memory of this sad time in our history will help to bring us together once more as a people, as we come to grips with what should really matter in this life, what should be top priority in life: love for God, love for one's neighbor, and love for self. I pray that even 50 years after, the souls of all who perished on that day will continue to rest in eternal and everlasting peace. I pray that God will continue to comfort the survivors, the loved ones of those who perished.
Reverend Bonnie Byron delivered the sermonette. Meantime, as part of the 50th anniversary of the MV Christena disaster, a commemorative swim and sail was also organized. Following a prayer for the MV Christena victims, the approximately 3-hour swim and sail from Wally Beach commenced. The swim and sail culminated at Penny's Beach with a final prayer and blessing and a moment of silence in memory of the deceased. In related news,
the site of the Christena disaster is an underwater heritage site, as it is the final resting place for the doomed boat, as well as for some of its passengers. Perhaps it is time that we consider implementing regulations that govern access by divers to that underwater wreckage site.
Prime Minister the Honorable Dr. Timothy Harris at a special sitting of the Nevis Island Assembly on July 31st. The sitting was held ahead of the 50th anniversary of the MV Christena disaster.
Perhaps we can look at making it a protected or regulated wreck dive site where, for instance, divers would only be allowed to view the sunken boat from the outside, and they would have to avoid contact with the remains of the boat when taking photos and video. Legislation such as a Historic Wrecks Act would be required in order to preserve and safeguard St. Kitts and Nevis's underwater cultural heritage of momentous importance to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis.
The government-operated MV Christena sank in the waters between St. Kitts and Nevis on August 1st, 1970. More than 230 persons perished, while some 90 persons survived. Still to come.
And I long for the day somewhere around the independence celebration of this year when we'll have the opening ceremony for that particular facility.
The details right after this break.
My name is KURVIN Wallace. I'm a track and field coach and the PE teacher at the George Level Primary School, encouraging you to stay safe, protect yourself and others. Wash your hands often with clean running water and soap.
Stay updated by following the Health Promotion Unit on Facebook and Instagram or contact us at 469-8010.
Welcome back. The Nevis Housing and Land Development Corporation, NHLDC, will resume its housing development program on the island soon. That is according to Chair of the NHLDC Board of Directors, the Honorable Alexis Jeffers, who is also Minister of Lands and Housing in the Nevis Island Administration.
We still continue to construct houses, but I want to say to you that we're just about to roll out another phase of construction up at Hamilton, in Cherry Garden, and also some additional housing in Maddens. University Heights as well, which is just to the back of us here at Garner's. That also, we have some additional construction to do there. So at least I can give the assurance this evening to our contractors who rely on the Nevis Housing and Land Development Corporation for some work. All of the contractors, subcontractors, meaning electrician, plumbers, painters, tilesmen, all who rely on the Nevis Housing and Land Development Corporation. We are not too far away from having the next phase of our construction being rolled out.
Minister Jeffers was speaking at the July 30th NIA Town Hall meeting at the Franklin Brown Community Center.
Very soon the people of Butlers will be getting some work done or some rehabilitation work done on the roads there in Butlers. As I said, I'm elated for the people of Butlers who have been patient, and very soon I'm hoping over the next month thereabout I've had a commitment that would be done or started, I must say.
Minister Jeffers, who is the constituency representative for St. James's Parish, also announced that the newly constructed police station in that community will soon be commissioned.
Many of you have been passing the Newcastle police station, and that is a project that is coming to an end shortly. As you realize, the contractor would have removed some of the barricade that was placed around the perimeter of that building. Now that that has been done, many of you have called me and have been saying that it is a massive structure, and that is absolutely true. And I do believe that the policemen and women, and also fire officers, male and female, who will occupy that building in the future will feel in some way that they are living in a hotel, an upscale hotel, because the interior is impressive. And I long for the day somewhere around the independence celebration of this year when we'll have the opening ceremony for that particular facility.
Meantime, the next NIA Town Hall meeting in the series titled Conversations with the People will be held at 7:30 p.m. on Thursday, August 6th at the Albertha Payne Community Center in Bath Village. Premier the Honorable Mark Brantley has expressed thanks to the patrons who supported the events organized by the Nevis Island Administration over the Emancipation Weekend. In a Facebook post, Brantley wrote, "Thank you to our brothers and sisters from St. Kitts who came to Nevis in their hundreds to spend the Emancipation Weekend and to experience all that Nevis has to offer." Monday, August 3rd and Tuesday, August 4th were dubbed the Emancipation Weekend and were filled with many activities to fill the void of the cancellation of Culturama 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. A series of folklore and cultural acts were performed by Nevisians and Kittitians alike in the vicinity of the AL Evening Building in front of an appreciative crowd. Some of the acts included performances by drummers, cowboys and Indians, masquerade, steel bands, the Mansion Bull, dances from the primary school all-star dancers, poetry, and songs by Frank and the Boys. In the July edition of the Premier's press conference, Premier Brantley noted that the purpose of the weekend of activities was to provide an economic boost to vendors and other stakeholders here on Nevis. That's it for this edition of the Nevis Newscast. On behalf of all of us here at the Department of Information, I'm Freddie Silibird. Thank you for viewing.